Hey, it's Joe Sanok. And guess what? Our Level Up Week in March was a huge success. And we're so excited to bring it back from September 18th to 21st. Now, you might be asking, what's in it for me? Well, let me break down why this event is tailor made specifically for you. Are you a new therapist looking to start a practice? We've got insights tailored just for you, like the solo practice panel and Q&A. Maybe you're a seasoned professional wanting to grow a little bit. Learn from experts in the field on topics like growing a group practice and keys to successfully accepting insurance in your practice. Do you want to harness technology for your practice's advantages? Well, don't miss the 5 IT things you have to master. And that's just the beginning. We have over 20 webinars, all designed to help you level up your private practice no matter what stage you're at. Plus, it's all entirely free. So why Level Up Week? Because we provide you with practical, actionable strategies from top leaders in the field. You'll gain tools to elevate your practice, expand your knowledge, and engage with a community of like minded professionals. Don't let this opportunity slip by. Register now at practiceofthepractice.com/level up and take the next step in your private practice journey. I can't wait to see you there. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, episode number 908. I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast. I am so excited that you are hanging out with me today. Whether you have a solo practice or a group practice, maybe you're doing audience building to launch a book or an e-course, whatever your phase of private practice and mental health support for the world that you're at, we are here to help you. And if you don't know, which would mean that you probably haven't listened to any episodes up to this point because we've been talking about it all month, we are in the middle of Level Up Week. Level Up Week kicked off yesterday. Twice a year, we do Level Up Week where we bring in a ton of different speakers. We have all sorts of free sessions and giveaways. In the March Level Up Week, we had over $40,000 in prizes for people that signed up to attend our free webinars. So you're going to want to make sure you are a part of Level Up Week over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up week or /level up. Those two will take you to the same place, and you can register for those. Today, on Tuesday, September 19th, we have Micah Miller, who has millions of followers on Instagram. We have our group practice boss meeting, which is going to be open for anyone that's a group practice owner, or if you just want to check it out. As well, we have our starting a group practice panel and Q&A today. So that's going to all be happening on Tuesday. Tomorrow on Wednesday, we have Kelly Sonnenberg coming. We have Ask the Expert. We have growing a group practice panel. So if you wanted to start a group practice, so all sorts of things around that. And then Thursday, we're talking about how to create and sell e-courses and build passive income, setting your key performance indicators and creating a dashboard with LaToya Smith. And we have Sarah Riviera and Hannah Rose joining us too. It's going to be an amazing week. Also this week, all of our memberships are open again. So Next Level Practice, Group Practice Launch, Group Practice Boss, and Audience Building Academy. You'll want to jump into whichever membership makes sense for you for your phase of practice. And so if you're looking at starting a solo practice and growing a solo practice, that's Next Level Practice. If you are starting a group practice, that's Group Practice Launch, our 6-month program to help you hire your first person. Then we have Group Practice Boss, which is aimed at people that are group practice owners, and Audience Building Academy, which is specific for people that are building passive income courses and growing an audience. So all of those details are over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. So you can read all about that. So we're really excited. We're going to be putting all of our time and energy into that this week. And all of those communities are open until next week. So you want to make sure that you jump in because it won't open again until next March. So get that help that you need, get that support. Join over 200 other clinicians that are in community together, helping each other level up. Well, today is a really exciting day. I am so excited. We have Christine Lee with us. And Christine is the founder and CEO of Mentaya, a company that helps private practice therapists grow their revenue and private pay client base by leveraging out-of-network benefits to bring client costs down closer to a copay. They instantly check clients' benefits and automatically file out-of-network claims to help your clients get reimbursed. Christine is a strong advocate for mental health and left her job as a Google product manager to start Mentaya. Welcome, Christine, to the Practice of the Practice podcast.
Thank you so much, Joe, for the warm intro.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're here helping us level up this week with Level Up Week going full tilt. Man, you left a job at Google to do this. I want to hear that story.
Yeah, definitely a hard job to leave. Obviously, I had a lot of fun at Google, worked with some great people, but ultimately, I wanted to do something that I felt was more meaningful to me personally. And I've been really interested and invested in the mental health space for a long time. I went to a high school in the Bay Area with a lot of mental health issues and just saw the impact mental health could have at a young age. And I've just always wanted to make a difference in the space somehow. And so that's a little bit about why I left my job to start Mentaya.
Yeah, and why out-of-network benefits? There's so many different niches within the world of mental health. Like, what made you say to yourself, you know what? It's out-of-network benefits. That's my jam.
Truthfully, it wasn't like I started Mentaya being like, I just really want to build a company around out of network benefits. It was more around, I want to build a company around making mental health care more accessible and specifically high quality mental health care. And I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. The reason we're starting with out of network benefits is because we want to make sure that we are taking both the client perspective and the therapist perspective into account. And I know that this is a field in which mental health workers and therapists are oftentimes underpaid or not as focused on. It's a lot on the client and making mental health care more accessible, but we wanted to do it in a way that not only helped the clients but also helped the therapist up as well. And so out of network benefits was the natural way that we can help therapists continue to make their full fee but help clients actually get reimbursed up to 80% of the cost of therapy, so that we're essentially bridging the gap between in-network therapy and private pay therapy.
Yeah, well, let's start with the problem of just insurances. Now, lots of our listeners take insurance, but like, how does that typically work? And what should people that are taking insurance know about fee structures, know about contracts? And then maybe we can dive into why out of network may be something for people to consider.
Yes. So with insurance, it completely depends on everyone's specific contrast, a lot or contracts. A lot of it is dependent on your geographic location. In some locations, insurance companies pay more than others. But for example, I'm in California, I live in San Francisco. Very few therapists take insurance in this area because their fees are just a lot lower than what they could make if they were private pay. And on top of that, the cost of living is really high in this area. And so a lot of therapists find it unsustainable to take only insurance clients. And so most therapists are either entirely out of network or have a big chunk of their practice that is out of network.
Yeah, so when they're making that decision, what do you think goes through the mind of clinicians on whether they want to be completely out of network or take some insurances? Like, what have you seen?
From what I've seen, it's been a big debate around, do I want to deal with insurance companies or not? And I think the main factors are, am I willing to deal with the billing that comes with being a network of insurance companies? There's a factor around accessibility to clients. I know a lot of therapists come into this field wanting to, serve a diverse group of clients, and taking insurance is a way to, service clients that otherwise may not be able to afford therapy. And another one is just obviously your pay. In general, obviously, if you take insurance, you are at the whims of whatever insurance companies are willing to pay you. But if you're out of network and private pay, you can set your own rates that are, you can look at the market rates and sort of set your own and have the flexibility in that. And I think Another one is related to rates is sort of your ability to actually get clients and a full caseload. And so
Mm.
I think a lot of therapists, from what I've seen, when they start out, some of them start out by taking insurance, and it's an easy way to get a full caseload much more quickly and be able to, serve clients that may not be able to afford private pay therapy. But as they gain more experience and as they grow their practice, they start to sometimes transition to out of network and private pay because you want to have more of the flexibility and freedom to set whatever your rates are, be able to maybe not work 40 hours a week in sessions, and be able to just have the flexibility to see clients without having to necessarily disclose your notes. And so there are some privacy issues as well with seeing clients in network. And so that's sort of what I've seen in the past. And from just talking to a lot of therapists, that's generally what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, let's walk through if someone is taking insurance right now and they want to add out of network for either other insurances or maybe they even want to leave the insurance that they're currently on. Let's walk through that. And then maybe some is similar, some might be different for people that are exclusively private pay that want to add out of network. So let's start with the insurance folks. What should they do first?
So if you are a therapist who takes insurance, then you must have some sort of, you're either doing it yourself or you have some sort of biller or entity that is helping you bill these insurance companies. And if you want to be, and a lot of therapists are in network with specific insurance companies. You're not always in network with every single insurance company out there. And so let's say you're in network with, two major insurance companies. You're not credentialed or you're not paneled with the other insurance companies that you might get clients from. And so if you're taking some insurance and you have some out of network clients, you can actually, what's actually really interesting is that most clients don't realize they have what's called out of network benefits. So even if they see you as a private pay therapist or out of network therapist, they can still get reimbursed for therapy. And so you're just charging your full fee out of network and in private pay therapy. You're charging your cash rate and they pay your cash rate, and then they can actually get reimbursed up to 80% of the session cost with their insurance. And so that's sort of the process for out of network.
Hmm. Now, would it be the same for people that are private pay right now, or would there be other things you would add to it if they aren't even in the insurance world?
Yeah, so it's actually for any private pay client. It doesn't actually have to do with it doesn't have to do with insurance in the sense that you don't have to be credentialed or paneled or anything. Sometimes you have to be registered as an out of network provider with the insurance company, but this is more around this goes into the details of how insurance works and how a lot of people don't realize that they have in-network benefits and they also have out-of-network benefits where even as a client, if you see a therapist who is like my cash rate's 200, like that's what my fee is, you can actually still get a super bill essentially from your therapist, which is just a list of sessions, how much you've paid, CPT code, diagnosis, etc. And you can figure out how to submit a claim to your insurance company so that you as a client can get reimbursed while your therapist is still getting paid their full cash rate.
Hmm. As a therapist, I can tell you from experience that having the right EHR is an absolute lifeline. I recommend using therapy notes. They make billing, scheduling, note taking, telehealth, and e prescribe incredibly easy. Best of all, they offer live telephone support that's available 7 days a week. You don't have to take my word for it. Do your own research and see for yourself. Therapy Notes is the #1 highest rated EHR system available today, with a 4.9 out of 5 stars on trustpilot.com and on Google. All you have to do is click the link below or type promo code Joe on their website over at therapynotes.com and receive a special 2-month trial absolutely free. Again, that's therapynotes.com and use promo code Joe on the website. If you're coming from another EHR, Therapy Notes will also import your demographic data quick and easy at no cost, so you can get started right away. Trust me, don't waste any more of your time and try Therapy Notes. Just use promo code Joe at checkout. Now, walk us through what an intake conversation might look like on as someone's scheduling. So, frequently, this is a question we get in our membership communities, and we've talked a lot about in there. But for example, someone calls, they say, "Do you accept my insurance?" Like, what should that intake coordinator or that clinician then say to someone to make sure that they're accurate around what out of network billing is, and to make it clear to the client what their side of the steps would be?
That is a great question. This is something that comes up a lot in the conversations that we have with our therapist on Mentaya. I think one of the most difficult things about going cash pay or being out of network is saying to clients, hey, like this is the fee. Sorry, we don't take insurance. And, here's a super bill and, good luck submitting it. And you might have these benefits. We don't know. But there are other ways to do that, to have that conversation, especially with platforms out there like Mentaya, where we provide therapists with an instant benefits calculator that they can use in intake calls or, put on their website, so that instead of just saying my fee's 200, I don't take insurance, you just have to pay my cash rate, you can now say, my fee's 200, I don't take insurance, but if you give me your, insurance card, date of birth, etc., I can just run your benefits through the system and tell you immediately if you have these out of network benefits and how much you can get reimbursed per session. And then we can actually help you file the claim and get you automatically reimbursed so that you don't have to do anything. And having a conversation like that helps convert clients who may be otherwise on the fence about paying the full fee, because not everyone can afford the full fee. And so this sort of bridges the gap a little between, in network and private pay therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where do people get it wrong? Like, where would you say either they get it wrong where they leave money on the table, they get it wrong where, people end up not working with them, where their operations aren't a good flow? Like, how do people screw up out of network benefits?
I think there is a big hesitation from therapists, especially those who have chosen to be cash pay and be out of network, to even think about any dealing with insurance in any way. And so, from what I've seen, most therapists who don't take insurance are very like, I don't want to touch it. Like, client, you're on your own with these out of network benefits. I don't even want to get involved, because they've maybe had bad experiences with insurance in the past. And they're so worried about having to get sucked back into that, or they've heard horror stories about it. And so, what part of what Mentaya does is we shield the therapist and client from directly dealing with insurance, so that as a therapist, you don't have to worry about like, oh, am I going to be involved in this? Do I have to call insurance companies? I think most therapists are not going to be like, let me take, 2 hours of my time to call the insurance company for you to see what your benefits are and help you navigate them. And so when they put the onus on the client, who is already thinking, wow, this is, I have to pay this much per session for therapy. I have to figure out if it's within my budget. But if I want to actually get potentially reimbursed or figure out this insurance thing, it's just all too overwhelming. And that's where I think a lot of therapists who are private pay can potentially lose out on a client that would otherwise be a good fit.
Yeah, I think being able to walk that client through that exact process before they even come in, to say like, here's all you have to do. It's going to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to set this up, and you'll get 80% of it back. And also knowing that for sure they will get that percentage back, because the last thing a therapist is going to want is that they say you'll get reimbursed, and then for the insurance company to for some reason deny that or not pay it, and then that person's paid the therapist a whole bunch of money, and then they're not getting reimbursed. So like in that kind of situation, does that really like never happen where insurances don't pay the out of network, or there's snafus that happen? Like, what are some of the landmines so that a therapist isn't saying, yeah, you'll most likely get 80% back, but then like maybe they don't get the money back. Like what are those landmines that they should be aware of in regards to making sure that their clients do get paid back?
I think so. Insurance companies are, they generally will pay the reimbursement if you submit the claim and you do all the things in the exact correct way. Oftentimes, obviously, as a therapist, you might give a super bill or the client has to then submit a form. And so, in that process, sometimes, frequently, actually, something gets submitted incorrectly. The insurance rejects the claim, and then the client is like, goes to the therapist and asks for help, and now the therapist is involved. And so, that's just a situation that I think most therapists just want to avoid. They just don't want to ever be in that situation, given that they've chosen not to be in network with insurance. And so I think having a platform or some sort of billing entity, whether it's Mentaya or some billing company, someone else who can kind of take that responsibility on so it doesn't affect the therapeutic relationship where the therapist is saying, hey, these are your benefits, you know, like you can get reimbursed this amount. And for whatever reason the client does not, that is sometimes just, you want to avoid that type of situation. And so, but if you're saying, hey, I work with this platform or I work with this service to take care of all of this for you, and they're saying this and they're going to guarantee that, or they're going to give you a refund, then that puts the pressure, that takes the pressure off of the therapist and their client and puts it more on this third entity.
Yeah. Now, where would you say is the opportunity here? I mean, I can see it, but when you think about members that you've worked with, or even just going on podcasts like this, and people starting to add out of network more strategically into their practice, what's the opportunity that you see for clinicians to grow their practice?
Yeah, it's actually, so if you think about how much you're charging as a, private pay therapist or clinician who's out of network, there are only so many people who can afford that fee. But if you combine that with using people's out of network benefits to get them savings on average, at least on Mentai, we save people around 70% on average. So if your fee is 200, you're essentially cutting it to a net cost of $60. And so now you're just opening up the potential clients who can come and even see you. So you're just opening that up and you're sort of strengthening your therapeutic alliance with them if you're a therapist, because you're showing that you care about them, that you're willing to go this extra step of saying, hey, I found the service that I'm working with to help you out. And so overall that's the just general opportunity that I think a lot of therapists are missing out on. And on the client side, people are missing out on the fact that they can get reimbursed literally thousands of dollars per year on therapy. A lot of people are paying the therapist full fee, they're not getting reimbursed, and they're just spending all this extra money that they don't need to be spending, that they could otherwise be getting reimbursed and reinvesting back into therapy.
Yeah, and I love that right at the beginning you talked about access and how often people went into therapy for a variety of reasons to have this as their career. But I don't think anyone went into it saying, well, we hope to exclude a certain population from having access to therapy. And so, if you are going to choose to be private pay for whatever reasons you decide, doing it out of network is a great way, to really open up high quality therapists for a much lower price than kind of the average person often has the money to afford. And so I love that idea of access. um, when you think through where you hope insurance or out of network billing, or maybe there's even problems that you recognize now, like as someone that is a mental health advocate beyond just running a company, like what do you hope changes in the field of mental health?
I hope that whether it's with out of network or in network, I hope that this whole insurance situation gets easier for everyone so that, I mean, my goal is to contribute towards a society that eventually gives high quality mental health care to everyone, not just people who have out of network benefits or have insurance. And so I think making the insurance piece easier in general will help therapists scale their time more. And then they can spend more time actually seeing clients instead of focusing on how do I get these clients? How do I build the insurance and all this admin work or trying to get clients, equipping them with the tools to make it easier for them to actually do the thing that they're trained for and presumably went into the field for, which is providing high quality care for the individual and client.
Yeah, I agree. Now, if every private practitioner in the world were listening right now, what would you want them to know?
I want them to know that I think being a private practice, being in private practice is really admirable. The fact that you are running your own business and you're not taught any of this in school is really cool. And there are a lot of tools out there to support you. Like that's what we're trying to do at Mentaya. And as long as you try to find those resources, we're all hoping to make your lives easier. And we really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Mm, that's so awesome. And if people want to connect with Mentaya, what's the best place to send them? I know you're giving the benefits calculator tool away for free for a month for folks. How can they get that? And how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website. It's mentaya.com, mentaya.com. And if you sign up, we have a special promo code. It's just Joe, Joe. And if you sign up with the promo code, you can try our instant benefits calculator for free. Everything else on the platform is already free. And so you can just try everything out for free and see if it's useful for your practice.
So awesome. Well, Christine, thank you so much for being on the Practice of the Practice podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a great interview. Go add out-of-network benefits to your practice. I know my group practice, we had 13 clinicians. It was entirely private pay, and we manually did super bills when people requested them. How great would this have been back circa 2014, 2019 to be able to do this? It would have been so much easier on myself, my staff, the admin, all for a lower rate. That's awesome. Also, it's Level Up Week. If you haven't attended Level Up Week, you are missing out. We are covering everything around solo practice, starting a group, growing a group, and even some passive income strategies this week over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. We have, I think at last count, 20 plus webinars going on. In March, we had over $40,000 in prizes that we were able to give away from sponsors, from speakers, from even the Practice of the Practice team. And so make sure you register over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. And this episode is sponsored by Therapy Notes. We could not do this work without Therapy Notes. Therapy Notes has been a long-time sponsor. They are the best electronic health records out there. They do so many amazing things. In fact, they also have super bills as part of their platform that they can generate for you. Head on over to therapynotes.com. Use promo code Joe at checkout, and they're going to give you a couple months for free as well. Thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.